Been talking a fair bit about environmental economics, but in this brief segment, I want to turn to some puzzles in urban economics focused on real estate pricing and city quality of life. So the theme in this brief talk is going to be location, location, location. Two questions. How do we explain cross-city variation in real estate pricing? I'm about to be talking about price differentials in real estate in Los Angeles versus Detroit. But in a big city like Los Angeles, how do we explain within city variation of areas in Westwood or Santa Monica, Malibu versus in East LA? How do we explain that the law of one price doesn't appear to hold in ways that I will show you in just a moment? Here's a perfectly nice house in Detroit. So 16589 Ward Street is up for sale right now. It's 1,457 square feet. Looks like a perfectly nice two-story house. Look at the sales price. The list price, $24,900, less than a new car. So you can have a house right now in Detroit for $24,900. Do you want it? It's listed for this price. It hasn't sold yet. Contrast that with roughly a comparable house in Los Angeles near UCLA. Roughly the same size, located at 1501 Midvale Avenue, selling for $1.3 million. So I thought a house is a house. A riddle. How can a house be $25,000 in Detroit and roughly the same house is on the order of 60 times more expensive in Los Angeles? Isn't that a bit of a puzzle? How do you explain it? So again, the same home in square feet, and those two homes kind of looked alike, is priced at roughly 60 times higher in Los Angeles than Detroit. If you view those homes, if you view that a home is a home, then we should see, and if people agree with you, we should see folks selling in Los Angeles, collecting that $1.3 million and moving into Detroit. And that would be an arbitrage opportunity to sell high and buy low in that case. But we don't see this taking place. Why? So to an urban economist and an environmental and urban economist such as myself, we need to think a little bit harder about how Detroit and Los Angeles differ. Why is the law of one price violated? How can it be that the same home that two roughly comparable homes can have such different prices in the two cities? And so here's a short list, and I'm already seeing some missing bullet points. We know Los Angeles has more sunshine. We know that Detroit has nastier winters. We know that that home in 90024 in Los Angeles has access to nicer stores like Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. We know that Detroit and Los Angeles differ with respect to their racial composition. Los Angeles is a more Hispanic city, while Detroit's a more African American city. Does that matter? How much do each of these factors matter in explaining that enormous price differential? And if you have some hypotheses about that, how would you test those? The whole field of empirical real estate research seeks to do just that. These researchers use linear regression techniques, and they use data on home sales prices and the characteristics of these homes, where they have data on price of comparable homes, say price per square foot, in different communities and cities for all recent housing sales. And this whole game revolves sort of a decomposition. So when I was a graduate student, it's sort of the Happy Meal theorem, that a Happy Meal at McDonald's, you get a burger, French fries, and a toy. By a no arbitrage argument, the price of that should equal what does it cost you to buy a burger, and separately to buy French fries, separately, and to buy a toy. So you can sort of assemble your own Happy Meal if you purchased a burger, French fries, and a toy separately and just put them in a bag. That's a Happy Meal. So in a similar sense, real estate researchers try to decompose how much of the price premium we saw for that Los Angeles home versus that Detroit home is due to the following four big categories. Where is the home relative to employment centers? So Detroit doesn't have that many jobs anymore downtown. The jobs are in the suburbs. So these homes might have a long commute to employment opportunities. There's, quote, God-given amenities. And by that I mean climate, sunshine, proximity to the beach if that's nearby. Under C, proximity to consumer fun is where are the cultural centers of the city. In the case of that Westwood house, that it's close to Beverly Hills and the excitement of Rodeo Drive. And all folks desire, all else equal, low crime, good schools, low pollution areas. And each of these factors will be capitalized into home prices. And those areas that have low crime, good schools, and low pollution will sell for a price premium. And real estate economists are trying to measure each of these effects. So the concept of real estate market equilibrium is that prices across and within cities will adjust until supply equals demand in each of these markets. So if we see the price of a Westwood house, and if we see that home sell for $1.3 million, no one was holding a gun to that buyer's head. Somebody bought at that price, which means that relative to the alternative homes they could have bid for, that was an attractive home. They would have loved to have paid zero for that home, but if that home sells for $1.3 million, that means somebody was willing to pay that. And it's our job as economists to try to understand why. If that was a rational, self-interested person, what was it about that home and its neighborhood that made it so attractive relative to alternatives, such as that $25,000 home in Detroit?